Hello, my friends. We are live, and stay with me for just a moment while I hit a button to go live on Instagram. Let's see here. Oops, it might not work this time. Okay, we're officially live on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm happy with that.
Hi, 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 hi.
So the reason why Hua and I are coming together is because we wanted to talk about something that we are becoming more aware of, and Hua is especially aware of right now, and that is leaving a job leaving a job that's not working for you, that's perhaps even sucking your soul or diminishing your soul essence, and stepping into something new, even when you might not totally know what it is, and how to make that transition with support, basically, with support and greater ease. And first, let me just say this, everybody, this is Hua. She is the co-founder together with me of the Lumina Guild. She's an amazing human
Hi.
being.
Thank you for having me.
Mhm. And maybe I want to kind of do this like an interview where I ask you questions about your journey, but I'll say as a setup for everybody to keep you interested if you're actually interested in this topic, that Hua has been in corporate, which she'll share financial corporate systems for quite a long time. And she knew that she wanted to exit it for quite a long time, made one exit, then returned, and then is now just very recently made another exit. So, Hua, what do you want to say for people to understand a little bit about the background and knowing that you can relate to maybe what they're going through?
Just a little bit introduction about myself. I've been in banking since forever, probably more than 10 years. And but at the same time, I lived this like parallel life where I was a very spiritual person. I did my spiritual practice. I connected to my soul. I understood what my soul wanted. And every day I woke up, I go to work. I did a 9 to 5 or even more than that because of the security of the paycheck. And for over for many, many years, maybe over 10 years, I was living this parallel life that wasn't really aligned. I wake up, I live one life, I go home, I do my spiritual meditation, and I was tapping into something else and my soul was trying to tell me this is not working for you anymore. But I held on to that security of the paycheck for so long. And for a long time, I was living this like compromising life. And my soul was just shouting at me that this is not for you. And I experienced depression, I experienced anxiety, and it was a long journey for me to get here today and to finally quit my corporate job and doing something else that lights my heart up with joy.
What do you, this might be jumping off the deep end of the pool, but let's see where we go from here. Is this question about what do you think it actually takes to make a change like this that you can get behind? I'll just stop there and you see where you want to go with that.
So at the core of it, everything is energy, and that include your mindset, that include your community, that include your environment, and it's involve a lot of encouragement and guidance from the people around you. But everything is energy, like your internal belief system, reflecting on your external environment, supporting each other. And it takes a lot to build a life, to build the condition for for someone like myself to make the change, to make the transition. Because I, like you said, I've done this twice. The first time, the condition, like I made the change, but the condition of my finance, the condition of my mindset was not ready to support me to seeing it through. But doing it the second time, I'm now surrounded by a community of of people with the same vision. I have prepared, take practical steps to prepare my financial environment, and I've done a lot of inner work to change my mindset, to change my vibration in order to see this through the second time.
One thing that's coming up for me that I wanna say is that, uh, and I think you would agree, it's not like the first time was a failure and the second time is the success, because I really see when it comes to substantial change that is the direct, sort of outflowing of soul evolution.
Mm,
Substantial change that's the direct outflowing of soul evolution. It's, um, it's really all about the process. It
mm,
is actually literally all about the process, meaning our minds are oriented around the end product. Okay, now I no longer have my corporate job and I feel financially secure and I have community, therefore I've done it right because I've got this end thing. But actually you had to go through everything that you had to go through
that's so true.
because everything that you went through, you learned something from it, prepared the soil, you clarified new preferences or desires. Like we learn from these things. So to frame it all as you really like you can't get it wrong.
Mm,
And there are certain things that you discovered that you needed and wanted
hmm
in order for this shift to not feel so scary or be as chaotic. Do you wanna speak to
hmm
that a little bit? The stability within the process?
I experienced the chaos. I experienced the chaos to the extreme, emotionally, mentally. I think like maybe a few years ago, I called you and I was like in tears. But now reflecting back, like every moment, every chaos is an opportunity for refinement. It's an opportunity for deepening the alignment with the soul. Without all that chaos, I would still be in my corporate job without the challenges. I would still be in the corporate job because everything was so comfortable. It wouldn't
Right,
push me to make the decision.
right. That's right. Why don't you articulate that reframe for people to really feel? Like, just sum that particular reframe up.
I guess I remember it's like going back to the corporate job. I spent months resenting it. I knew it wasn't for me. I knew that, but and I think in my mindset was I had to I had to do this for survival. I wouldn't be able to survive if I wasn't in this corporate job. But somewhere along the line, the reframing was this is a stepping stone.
Mm,
This is an opportunity for me to refine my mindset. This is an opportunity for me to pivot. This is an opportunity for me to come back into alignment in order to make a choice that feels more aligned, that feels more rich, that feels more true to who I am.
mhm. There's 2 things that are coming up for me to share for story. I haven't had a corporate job, but I have had really substantial pivots within my entrepreneurial trajectory that were the equivalent of that because I was I was basically through choice and decision leaving behind a way that I did things that had a certain guaranteed, I put in quotations because it's not really guaranteed, but it's like the income piece. I was more it had a momentum to it. I was used to receiving income at a certain level and in a certain way. And if I was then closing the door on that particular way, then I was also, quote, closing the door on that particular way of income coming. And that's, that brings up the survival fears for sure. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to share is that when when I was in going to Bastyr, where I studied naturopathic and Chinese medicine, I worked for a period of that time. I worked as a cocktail waitress in a restaurant bar. in downtown Kirkland, actually not that far from where I am right now. And I rem I there was a whole crew of us that worked there. It was mostly women who worked in the bar. And I was the only one there that didn't have issue with working there. The all the others that worked there, they would bitch and moan about working there. It wasn't what they really wanted to do. They felt lost. They felt like there was more to them and more that they wanted to bring into this world, but they weren't sure what it was. And I just remember being curious, like what is different about me versus them, because we're doing the same job and I need this job for my own, to pay my rent and to live. And the only thing that was different was that I didn't feel stuck in that job
Mm.
because that job was something that I was doing while I was in school for something that was coming next, and I was really lit up about it. So in my mind, I did not feel trapped by the job. That was a really uh, powerful experience because I've gotten to see this over and over again in the clients that I work with, is that first and foremost, the experience of being trapped happens inside your mind. So if you can find a way when you're in your current job that might be soul sucking, that you don't actually want to be in, and you feel that there's more for you and you don't know what it is and you're scared, all the things that come with it. But if you actually put on the hat or put on the coat of the reframe that you're right where you're meant to be and you're on your way to something better, that's going to start to shift everything. So I'll pause there and see what you want to
Mm.
offer in around that.
I have the perfect mantra for when you feel trapped in your job, and it is I have choice. This is a choice.
Hmm.
Because if once you reframe it that you have a choice, every you do everything for a purpose, either whether the job is a stepping stone or the job you do the job because you like it. It is a choice, and it's such. And I think that man just helped me to feel so much more empowered in myself
Hmm.
in moments where I felt helpless. Well, the previous moments where I felt helpless in a job.
Hmm. What I feel like I asked this question before, but we're in a different place in our own conversation right here, so I wanna ask it again uh, maybe I didn't ask this, maybe I asked you this before we got on this call, is what do you think is required for people to make a substantial change like this and experience, we're not saying that they aren't gonna experience the chaos, because chaos is part of the dissolution of things, but so that they can so that it can be better, so that it can be easier, the transition. What do you think's needed?
I think three things, right? The most important thing is, of course, the inner work. We all need to keep refining our alignment with energy, with vibration, our mindset. But then that leads me to the second and third thing. Because if you're sitting by yourself doing your inner work, it's going to be really difficult because you're still in the same repeating pattern of your mind. You're still in the same repeating pattern of your day to day. So that leads me to second and third thing. The second is support, and third is community.
Mm,
And support, yeah, you don't need to do it by yourself. There's people who've done it before. There's people who are experts in pivoting mindset that can show you the quickest way to to switch your mindset, to switch your energy, to switch your vibration. And being surrounded in a community of visionaries help you to know that there is a different way. There is a different way of creating, of generating income, of living in a more joyful and creative way. So those three things for me are the most important three things that helped me to make that shift. And I think community, I think Luminary Guild has been a godsend.
Mm.
There's so I'm so humbled to be part of Lumni Guild. Like the inspiration, the joy that all the members has given me um is just something that I can never thank them enough.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. I think all I can add to that, and then mm, let's see if there's something else that you want to weave into this before we come into conclusion. But uh, I think that a lot of people are cynical, and not because they meant to be or they mean to be, but I think that and cynical in relationship to change, like lasting change. Um, I think by default, it's easy to get cynical about real change if you're not actually living it consistently and holding it in a way that allows you to be satisfied with your forever incomplete self.
Mm,
Because if and I feel, still I've been an entrepreneur since I was like 8 years old, and I've pivoted many times, and I risk big. You've witnessed me do this. A and I still sometimes have to slow down and go, "Tiff, what are you racing off to?" There's not some final destination that is gonna be the be all end all. You're complete, you have arrived.
mm,
Ah. Now there are crescendo moments, I have a handful of crescendo moments in my life, or crescendo periods where I really do feel like I've arrived. Something has crescendoed, and there's something that I savor and just relish at those times. But to the extent that I hold on to that is that that should forever complete me, or I should no longer want more, or I shouldn't be challenged anymore, then I just suffer. So part of this mindset shift is the embrace of the process and
mm,
acknowledging that I think that everybody right now, whether they actually acknowledge it to themselves or not, everybody right now is in a transition,
mm,
because we are in a time of massive transition. There's a lot of existential angst and questioning about jobs. What's my purpose? What's going to get replaced with either AI or robotics? What then is the value that I add? What is the future for me? What's the future for my community? Like, these are all big questions that are up in very particular ways right now. And so what you wove in about those three things, that's what actually my dad used to say, that's where the rubber hits the road. Not just him, it's an American expression. Like, that's where things get practical. So if we're getting
mm,
really practical about here, I'm just going to connect the dots. You say, I'm talking to anybody that can feel this. You say that you're unsatisfied and the way that you're doing things is sucking your soul. It's not working for you. And it's been that way a while. You say that you're ready for change. And you also recognize that you have some cynicism about true change actually working and that you could do it. If all of that's true, what I can say, and what I think you can say too, Hua, is that there is a recipe, there is actually a recipe that works for supporting people, human beings, in recognizing more of who they are and what they want, shifting their mind and their emotions and the way energy moves in the moment so that people don't have to linger in suffering. And then surrounding yourself with the right kind of community. It's like having the right ingredients to make your soup really tasty. If you want to have a tasty soup, you need to have certain kinds of, your soup's not going to be that tasty if you don't have any salt. You can't even make your soup if you don't have your soup pot. And if you don't have some vegetables, your soup's not going to be that colorful or that interesting. So surrounding yourself with the kind of community that actually allows you to make and create the thing that you say you want to make and create. Like this is where the actual practicality meets the desire. Yeah. What do you feel with that?
Mm, I love that. I love that so much. And and again, I just feel like so lucky to be part of Lumina Guild because Lumina Guild offer the ingredient, the diversity
Mhm.
that to make this soup, this experience so rich and interesting and joyful.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Ugh, I just feel this excitement in me right now of being on this kind of, heart-led campaign to support myself and other human beings in recognizing what it actually means to embrace the process, and then give yourself the right conditions so that you can flourish. 'Cause I think we've all had plenty of experiences of kind of going after the glittery object that we think is gonna be the thing that takes us to where we wanna go, but it's kind of like from that energy of lack or from that energy of a quick fix, or that somebody else has something that you need in order to then have your life all figured out. And what we're saying in Lumina Guild is like, we don't actually have everything all figured out, but we have some very beautiful tools offered by genuine masters in the field that they're in order to support you in the changes that feel really, really good to you and to who you're
Mm.
becoming. So maybe we'll just, are you okay coming into closing here? Uh, Share a little bit about what you have coming up in the Lumina Guild. And I know we haven't decided on actual dates when it's going to start, but you can still share about it and I'll share about what I have coming up in the Lumina Guild and then we'll close it out.
So one of the four pillars in the Lumina Guild is all about creative emergence. And what what does creative emergence look like? It can take so many forms. And the creative emergence that I experience for myself is create the life I want to lead beyond the 9 to 5. So creative emergence may mean something different to you, but in 2026, we're going to launch something really exciting, which is a 9 month program of creative emergence where you create the next chapter of your life. And if you are one of those people who are dissatisfied with your 9 to 5, this is for you. This is the creative emergence awaiting you to experience.
And then you are going to specifically lead those people who are in a 9 to 5 or in a corporate who know that they're done with it, but they just don't know how to exit and they need
Hmm.
support. You're gonna have kind of a cocooned offering within there to support them.
Yes. And it will involve practicality, it will involve very practical guidance on finance, it will involve community, inspiration, inspiring each other, sharing ideas about what that may look like.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. So we're just planting seeds here, everybody, for you to feel what's possible, and then there's links where you can check out more about the Lumina Guild, and in the not too distant future, we're going to be posting on there about this journey with you and the journey. There's two other uh, um, there's sort of elements or ingredients. I like this soup pot metaphor within this that are coming, and one is this 9 month emergent path journey where I'm guiding people in understanding what it means to create in an emergent context. All I mean by emergent in this sense is that it isn't already figured out. You're not trying to force yourself into a cookie cutter template in order to get what you want and need. You're learning to recognize yourself as a human being who can tune in to various potentials, who can get clear on what you want, and then literally like bring it in, download it in, and let it materialize in your 3D life here. So we'll go step by step through that journey, and everybody in it will pick one thing that they want to create and give rise to in that time together. So that's one. Then there's the journey with you that's specific for people wanting to leave the 9 to 5. And then there's also a whole emphasis and focus starting in this first quarter of 2026, supporting people who want to relocate and live outside of their perhaps their birth country or perhaps where they're located now. They want to move to somewhere, a physical location that's more soul aligned for them. So all of these things, if you do, I think both Hua and I have done these things without support and with support, and I won't speak for you, but I know what I've done with support has been far more grace filled and just not always easy, but far more easy than doing it without.
Even if you can just reduce the mess by 10%, why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think a lot about this, like any for pro athletes, for example. I want to use this specific um, metaphor or analogy. Pro athletes, there's a focus. Like I want to be. I used to treat when I had my clinical practice. I was treating some of the Seattle Seahawks at my clinical practice, and they're high level athletes, right? So, if say one of the positions on the team, let's just pick a common position, the quarterback. So say the quarterback says, "I want to be the best quarterback I can possibly be for this team." There's one sole focus. They want to be the best possible quarterback they can be for this team. If they want to, they're going to have a coach. They're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have a coach, guaranteed they're gonna have a coach. And the coach is going to point out where they can refine. There are obviously already fabulous because they're playing for a pro team, but they have somebody that's there saying, "This is where you can refine. If you're struggling with this, let me observe it and then offer you some tools, some tricks that can help you to cross over to that next level of excellence or brilliance." And they're going to have a PT probably, and they're going to have a they're going to have people that support their physical body because their physical body is the thing that that's the brilliance is coming through that physical form. So in this, within Lumina Guild, the focus is you being you. You are the artist and you are the masterpiece. And the creation of your dream life is both you as an artist and you as a masterpiece creating in real time. That is a very specific focus that requires a very specific kind of team. That's basically what I wanted to end with.
Mm,
You want to add anything to it in coming into closing? Or do you feel a practice that we might want to go into?
just trying to feel into it. I think it doesn't have to be a practice that we do right now, but a practice that I invite everybody to tune into in your own time would be silence meditation. Just follow your breath, sit in silence, because in that silence, that's when your soul speaks to you. That's when you get the soul calling to initiate you into the process of creative emergence.
Hmm.
So, an invitation or practice for you to do in your own time.
Oh, you know what I can do? I made that Find Your Soul Home guided
Mm,
practice in Lumina Guild. So I'm making a note here to anyone watching. I'll get a link to share that with you so you can. It's not totally silent because you would be listening to my words, but there's periods of silence in there so that the space arises for you to see, feel, hear what's next. Okay, good.
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
everyone,
great.
check out Lumina Guild and stay tuned for more to come and more to come from Hua and I as well. So much love.
Okay.
Hua, stay on.